Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Every Day of Draft Day this week. I am your host, Dan Turner. Joining me, as always, pulling double duty tonight, coming off her own show, Steffi Smalls. What's up, Steph? How are you?
What's up? Thursday Night Football is back.
Thursday
Very
Night
excited.
Football. And we are honored to have our first official guest at Every Day of Draft Day, the amazing and honorable Jeff Haseley. What's up, Jeff?
Phew! Hey guys, happy Thursday Night Football. Thanks for having me on the show. Appreciate it, and I'm happy to join you guys.
Awesome. If anyone doesn't know Jeff, I don't know how you couldn't. He's the senior writer over at footballguys. He has his own Etsy shop. He's a video editor for Football Doctors. He writes for SI Panthers. He has a Carolina Fandom podcast. And speaking of the Panthers, we had some sad news. No more Christian McCaffrey for the year. What's going on, Jeff? What's going on with CMC? Can we trust him anymore?
Honestly, I have a theory. Okay, because what is he? He's what, like 5'11", maybe 6 foot, if that, and like 203, 205 pounds. He is a workout warrior. Goes crazy working out. He's very well conditioned. I just wonder if he's either being overtrained or if he's doing this to himself, and he's kind of stretching his muscles to the limit. Mm-hmm. And it gets to that point where, something's gonna, snap or something. In the case of a muscle strain or something like that, we've seen this happen, and especially, he's devastated. That's his words, right? He's devastated. He can't believe that this has happened again, right? Well, at some point, you kind of have to look in the mirror and say, what are you doing differently, or what's your training staff doing differently? I mean, remember David Boston?
Yes.
Remember when he was just like the most buff guy ever? And ever since, before that, he was a darn good receiver. And then when he went crazy, he kind of, slipped off, fell off the wagon.
It's funny you say that too, because do you remember there was like all this hype around him, right, during the off season, and it was pictures of him in the gym nonstop. I mean, like, to the point where it's like he's noticeably like gaining a lot of muscle, and that's great. He's able to go to the gym and everyone's getting very excited. But it's interesting that you say that, because I did have that slight thought, and I'm like, maybe you're being dramatic, but maybe there is a piece to it there.
Yeah, because I mean his I guess if you want to call it his body size, or like what his body can handle, I don't know if it can handle the muscles that he's creating. And maybe that's why. And no one seems to be talking about that. But it sure seems like there's something going on in that regard. And you just gotta look at the common denominators.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I think it has to be something training wise. I mean, it also could be the fact that he's been the entire offense pretty much for a couple of years now, so that obviously doesn't help with the position he plays. But the fact is, he's not getting any younger, and as we know, as this year has proven, running backs can't stay healthy for anything. So it's definitely, it hurts. You're obviously already getting talk that he's not going to be the first overall next year anymore, and he's already on the downslope of his career, and it's sad because he's an awesome player, even not just for fantasy, just awesome to watch, and the fact that he's getting hurt more frequently now, it just sucks for the league as a whole. Honestly.
Yeah. It's hard to see guys like Saquon and CMC that are like the main, they're the focal point of these offenses. Football's better when we have them on the field, and we've really been deprived of that the past 2 years. So it's a shame, and I hope that, next year we get a little bit better luck with the two of them.
Yeah, but we'll have other ones, though, that we're talking about next year. Hopefully it's not the same people.
Yeah.
But yes, it just happens. And it's, you look at your first round preseason picks, right? Your running backs, and it's like half of them aren't even your top 12 anymore. So
no.
And all the zero RB people went wild. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We know.
That's me.
Dan and I talked about this on the show. We know.
Right. So if you go wide receiver heavy, or perhaps tight end, that may be the way to go. And I think we might start to see some bigger running back names fall into that second round.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, well, what do I do?
Right.
Do I zig and then zag, or if they're zigging, do I zag?
Right.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting and fun, and everyone's going to have their opinions and such. So yeah.
Of course. That's what Twitter is for.
That's right.
I don't like being the zero RB guy. I just don't like the zero RB guys that say "I told you so" after guys get hurt, because that's not, how you should act when you're doing zero RB.
Yeah, those are the same people who also took Trey Sermon too instead of Elijah Mitchell, right? So
right, exactly.
Yeah, and Cordell Patterson was a waiver pick.
Right.
Just people find their ways, and there's nothing wrong with having success that way.
Yeah.
But you can't tell me that was necessarily your strategy. Now, if your strategy is to do that, as far as finding players on the waiver wire, great.
Right.
Burst all through your fob money through the first 3 weeks. I'm sort of okay with that, because then you could get Mitchell, you could get Patterson, you can get whoever.
Chuba Hubbard, you can get Booker,
right.
You can get these guys that have played a significant role. I totally agree with that, and the thing is too, for every good take that we have, we're all gonna have a bad take too, right? We all miss on stuff, and I think that gets missed a little bit too there.
Oh yeah, no, and it's also good and clean to come through and say, oh yeah, I missed on Deebo Samuel. Right?
Yeah,
he wasn't.
And you know what I did actually to
he was not my guy.
Accountable for the end of the season? I actually started last night. I put good takes, bad takes, and I started writing them out, because I want to come forward and be like, this is what I really, really missed on, and this is what I did a great job on. And I think it's good to show that you have both sides.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Actually, a really funny Deebo story real quick before we go on. In my home league, I've been playing with these same group of people for about 10 years now. And someone actually took Deebo Samuel 3rd overall. And wow. Obviously at the time we were all busting on them and laughing. And everyone else around Deebo before this week got hurt. So really, and he was performing well. So they were getting the last laugh up until, he got injured. So it's just funny, how he kind of turned around on us, that a pick that obviously was insane that you would never make at any point logically end up turning out okay. That's the kind of season it's been.
Yep. Get your guys. That's the best method ever.
Get your guys, but
it makes
there has to be a limit to that.
So much more fun. You have your guys, you get to root for them, you get to watch them. I think that's the best method that you can use ever.
So I kind of want to talk to this guy who took Deebo Samuel in the first round. I mean, is he like a South Carolina fan? Is he just, hey, I've got the personal phone number for Kyle Shanahan, so I know what's going on in San Francisco, or what in the world happened there?
I don't know. I don't know what it was, but it ended up not being terrible.
No.
The joke's on us, apparently. But anyway, for the main topic of the show today, we're going to be talking about some player props. Player props are starting to build some momentum as something that people enjoy doing in addition to regular fantasy football. I myself have not really delved into it too much, so I'm kind of a noob in that regard. But Steph and Jeff, that's funny, are both pretty awesome when it comes to player props. So I'll be leaning on them a lot more this show. So in general, what do you look for when you're doing your player props?
Well, I mean, player props, it depends on the site that you're at, and or the app if you're doing this on your phone, and because they're all kind of different but similar in certain ways. Certain sites, say for example like Prize Picks, have a lot more choices. However, the payout is a little bit less than some of these others, right? So it kind of depends. I'm looking at anything that kind of stands out, or if there's a promotion that I can get on board with. Like for example, during Thanksgiving, they had a promotion with Josh Allen. All he had to do was pass for 1 yard, right? You're like, oh, geez, I'm in. And a lot of sites are doing this to try to get you in and get you spending money. It's kind of like the casino who says, here, have a free drink.
Yeah.
And so that's their way to get you to play, right? But in player props, you can't just play one. You have to play multiple plays, I guess we'll call it that, on a card. You can't just do one. You have to match it with someone else, right? And that other someone else can't be on the same team. So there's limitations involved. So I don't know. I'm kind of looking for something that is either a promotion, or I've looked at the line and it's different from another site that also does props. Why are you sticking out? Why is, like, for example, tonight, Taysom Hill what is it? I think was it Monkey Knife Fight, I believe, that had Taysom Hill at 180.5 passing yards, and another
What?
site. Yeah. Oh yeah. And Thrive was at like 215.
180?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it's like, whoa, that sticks out. Wow, why is this so much lower than this other site?
Right.
Okay, there's a little bit of uncertainty there. So that kind of intrigues me. Or maybe you can even hedge a play here and then play it on another, go the opposite way. Anyway, there's lots of things you can do.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of look for that. I look for the last couple games and kind of see where they fall in that same stat. Let's just say, for example, you're looking at, I don't know, something simple like Dak Prescott, passing yards. Oh, okay. Well, the last couple games, he's been over that number. Ooh, that's interesting. Now he's going against a team that stops the run well in New Orleans, and perhaps they won't be able to stop him, in terms of his passing yards. So maybe I'll lean there. So those are the things that I kind of look for, and I've kind of been rambling here, so I'm kind of curious, Steph, what you think as well. And Dan, you could just kind of listen and lean back and be like, you know what, this is cool. Let me just tell one more thing before I stop talking.
Go for it.
Is the beginning of the year, like week 1, I was also right where you are, Dan. I was a player prop noob. It wasn't necessarily that big of a prominent feature in terms of DFS last year. Mm-hmm. And a lot of sites over the offseason were like, you know what, I got a really good idea. They're allowing us to do this now. Let's do this. And it was multiple sites kind of coming up with the same thing and throwing things together to get ready for week 1. And that's kind of when I started. But I was right in your seat too, Dan. And
it makes you feel better.
There you go. Right. So anyway, I will stop talking, Steph.
No, I love listening. It's fun to talk about too. And I think the thing with player props is they're so, like, if you play fantasy football, you can do player props because it's the same type of research. It's the same concept overall. You're looking at how many touchdowns is this defense? Are they very acceptable to tight ends? Like, you're doing the same stuff that you're doing for start sit. And again, like you said, it's finding trends. Like, you'll look through numbers, and I usually will go in and I'll just start looking, right? And I'll be like, that doesn't look right. And you'll notice right away because you're so used to, how many receiving yards did this player have? How many rushing yards did this player have? They'll have crazy odds for anytime touchdown. You're like, he's going to score a touchdown. So it's matching them together and being able, you're using the same knowledge that you use for start sit, which is awesome. And I think the two, fantasy football and player props kind of overlap a little bit with the research that you do.
That's right. And also, if you take a look at fantasy points allowed, that's a really fun, good stat to research and take a look at, because then you can narrow it down by the last couple of weeks. You could do the whole season. You could do versus a certain team and a certain position. There's so much that you can do in terms of research. Mm-hmm. It just kind of makes it fun, and it's not necessarily it's smart gambling because you kind of have your knowledge of, like you said, Steph, already of these fantasy players and the terminology and what to study for, what to look for, what trends to find. So you're kind of already doing it. You might as well have fun doing it. And plus, it makes watching the games that much more fun. You're like, oh, you got one catch. You only need 3 more.
It's a blast. It's awesome. And like you go on, right? Just your normal whatever stats that you're using, right? Type in a player and you look at their receiving yards the past 4 weeks. Like, he hasn't hit this number, but it's set at that. He's going to smash that. And then you can smash over, under. I find those a blast to do too. It makes it, like you said, way more fun to watch the game. You're way more engaged, like even with fantasy football, but it's like you're waiting for him to hit another play and you get those extra 5 yards, or, what did I miss by half a yard the other day? It was something crazy. I don't know what it was, but it makes it a lot more fun.
Oh yeah. Oh, and I do it different sports too. In fact, I kind of dabble in the NBA a little bit.
I started doing it too. It's bad.
Yesterday, I'm going to tell you a story. I did it just a 2-man prop. I did LaMelo Ball over 2 free throws, and I did Christian Wood over 12 rebounds. Now, if you're familiar with Christian Wood and the Houston Rockets, you might already know that the last game he played, he had 21 rebounds against Oklahoma City. And they're in a home and home with Oklahoma City in this game, right? So I'm like, I'm in, man. Let's go. Plus, he had like 50, 60-something rebounds in the last 4 games. It was nuts. He's going to go over. 5 minutes into the game, he tweaks his ankle. He's done. Played 5 minutes, had 0 points, had 0 rebounds, nothing, right? So I'm like, this sucks, right? And LaMelo Ball had 4 free throws at halftime. So I would have had that if of course if he stayed healthy. But those are the breaks. It happens. But those that's just a fun story that I wanted to share because I lost.
It's just like fantasy football when like someone random will get the ball and you're like, crap. It ends up being the same thing. Like even everyone knows Darius Lee and I adore him as a team player. I like him for the culture of the team. I don't like him for Giants football. I took his under, I smashed the crap out of his under. And of course he goes over. It was like 33.5 receiving yards. And for some reason that week, we're like, let's target Darius Slayton, like thinking I'm like doing a great play because you look at his receiving yards and then he just ended up having a great game. So that the same stuff that happens in fantasy football will happen in player props, will happen in your same game parlays. It's just kind of the beast in that.
The best part about that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say one thing that I have also learned to kind of play, and I'm also kind of, I guess I've been doing IDP leagues for a long time, so I have a good knowledge of that. They do IDP stuff with Prize Picks, which is a lot of fun to look at. And early in the season, it was kind of nice because they had certain players still listed at corner when they're playing safety. Like Logan Ryan, for example, on the Giants. I played him a lot. I played Jalen Ramsey a lot because people are like, oh, he's a corner. He's not going to get a lot of tackles. But yeah, he is a joker corner safety, right? He does all kinds of stuff. He's always around the ball. And it took him a couple weeks to figure that out. And, IDP stuff can be fun as well if you do the research. And
like interception numbers too on like all these sports books are always way too low. They're always at like half an interception. Sacks are always these weird numbers. So especially if you dabble in IDP, that can get really, really fun.
I love
anyway, go ahead, Dan. Sorry, I interrupted prior.
Yeah, I was going to the previous point about completely random things. The best one I love is when their team's at the goal line and the QB throws a touchdown to like the fourth string, like left tackle, and it helps absolutely nobody because
except for him.
Except for him, yeah, right. And just like
he's got
the tight end, I need 1 more point from instead of that guy.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You can't escape it. It's always there.
It's always
right.
there.
We got some comments. Jordan, fellow Panthers fan.
There he is.
Yep.
Hey, Jordan.
Yep, the Panthers have hurt me. Oh,
hey, Jordan, you're still pounding though, right, bud? You can't answer me. I'm sure he is. Yeah, it's been kind of a rough up and down season. I mean, the Panthers started off 3-0, and then Sam Darnold, it turned midnight and he became a pumpkin. And things went down, and then they went back up again, and they went down. It's a roller coaster with the Panthers, and everyone's like, Matt Rule go, time for him to go. What are they going to do now? They only have 1 pick in the first 4 rounds. It's like, what are you going to do? So there's a little bit of up and down right now with the Panthers nation, but Jordan, I feel you, man.
Yeah. He also had, isn't it illegal to hang Barkley jerseys up as an Eagles fan?
We talk about this a lot, Jordan. It's kind of makes me happy
on this show.
Every time you start talking about the Eagles, I'm like, yeah, but just like look behind you.
It's not my jersey. It's my wife's. I have nothing to do with it. Nothing. I don't want to get divorced. It has to be put up. I'm sorry. It's staying.
House divided there, Dan? What you got going on?
What?
House divided?
His wife is a Giants fan. His co-host is a Giants fan. I know you're a closet Giants fan. You just don't want to admit it.
My previous co-host was a Giants fan.
Oh, God.
I can't skip
my you're right.
I've got bad memories of the Giants because I grew up a Bills fan, right? And you already know, Scott Norwood missing wide right. Ruin that. But I still have a rug burn on my leg as a result of that play, a scar that I'll always have. But anyhow, that was not a fun moment, and they totally had it. I'm not going to go into that, but anyway, So my thoughts of the Giants are always goes back to there. But I love Tiki Barber though; he was such a cool player to watch.
Yeah, he was. He kind of was. Not so nice at the end. I was gonna say a word I'm not supposed to say, and I'm trying to clean my act up. He was not as nice towards the end to Eli Manning, but we love Tiki Barber. We can't hate on Tiki Barber. He gave me some very good years, and I do love him.
Nah, he's good. Plaxico, you've got...
please. He's my favorite player ever. There's no, you can't even touch Plaxico. I don't care. I adore the crap out of him. I think about his leg every day. Every single day. I think about it every day.
It's become a Giants thing.
Anyway, moving on.
It happens.
Amari Cooper during pregame didn't take a single 7-on-7 snap or 11-on-11 snap. Sat back and watched. I have Mike Williams. I'd switch him. If you haven't, I'd switch.
Single 7-on-7 or 11-on-11 step back and watch. Ooh. Well, his deal was what? It was COVID related, right? That's why he was out. So. And CeeDee Lamb had the concussion, correct? I have that correct, right? It was that way.
Yeah.
So what's up with? Who knows? Maybe he just. I don't know. It's a road game.
That's super shocking. They do this, right? And I tweeted this the other day. When people get injuries and illnesses now, they're not going to practice. Don't get all stressed out. Everyone starts to get in playoff mode too. You can't. You have to stop relying on that stuff as much because they're just saving their energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of previous co-hosts, there he is.
Jay, the myth, the man. Dan
loves the Giants.
Love the Giants. I don't.
Loves.
I don't. I need a new co-host. That's what I need.
No, you don't.
Someone to walk me through something. Anything. Anyway, moving on to tonight's game, which should be starting about now. What are some bets that you like for tonight's game? Some props, Jeff.
Oh, wow. Let's take a look here. What do I have going on for tonight? I did just a simple 2-person prop. They had a promotion. I'm talking about Prize Picks, which is one of my favorite ones to do because they always have promotions and they have a lot of different things. I already mentioned the IDP stuff, but and you also have the opportunity to choose a flex play, which is nice. So you can choose up to 5 different plays, right? 5 different plays in a parlay, and you don't have to get all 5 of them right. You could just get 3 of them right. Your payout's not going to be as great, but it doesn't matter which 3 out of the 5, right? So there's a good chance you could come away with something. Anyway, I like Prize Picks. I'm doing a power play here with 2 different players. One was on a promotion for Dak Prescott. They lowered his passing yards from 285 down to 249.5. Wow. But if you pick him, I think the promotion is you can't go over $25 on your bet. And I think for most plays you can go up to 200. But for this particular promotion, because they're giving you a discount a little bit, I think it's capped at 25. But anyway, I've got Marquez Callaway over 24.5 yards. And
that was one of mine. I also have anytime TD.
Some sites had him upwards of 30 yards, 31.5 yards. So I'm like, 24.5. I think I can handle this. It's almost like I'm teasing it down and taking the over. So that's one that I have, just a two-man play. I've got a 4-man play as well. I'm looking at another screen over here. That's why you're like, what is he doing over there? I've got CeeDee Lamb over 13.5 fantasy points. I want overs on these, and I did one other that was under. I'll get to that in a second. Prescott over the 249.5. I got that promo again. Tony Pollard over 16.5 receiving yards.
Wow, you got that low. So I got it at 20.5.
Wow.
That's a nice number there.
I'll take that. Hopefully get that at halftime. And I did Taysom Hill over 17 completions because I was seeing some projections of him being upwards of 20, 21, 22. I think we're going to see a lot of dump off stuff, short ranged intermediate routes. He's not going to air it out. That's not Taysom's game. So the only thing I'm concerned about is that plantar fasciitis on his foot, and hopefully that doesn't tear. Oh my goodness, that would be awful.
Which is why I did like his under. I think it was where I got it was 41.5 rushing yards. Love that because I think people forget that he's able to throw the ball. I mean, he's not gunning it down the field, but he's still able to pick up some air yards. So I think that that 41.5 rushing was a little bit generous for someone coming off of the plantar fasciitis.
Yeah, I could see going under for that for sure, especially if they get behind. He's not going to be running a whole lot. Anyway, and then I did another one, which was unders. I took Zeke under 46.5 rushing yards, which is a lot of people are saying, Zeke's probably going to take a little bit of time off. They're going to use Pollard more. Well, if that's the case, then this is right in my wheelhouse here, this prop. And I paired it with Taysom Hill under 213 passing yards, 213 and a half passing yards. And this was on Thrive. Thrive Fantasy has that. So, yeah, hey, why not? Let's do it. That's the action for tonight. I haven't really started to look at or research any weekend games yet, or numbers, I should say, yet. But that's my action for tonight. We'll see how that goes. So
that sounds good. Oh, Jordan answered. Here we go. He is
still pounding. Woo! Yeah. DJ Moore. A little self promo here.
Love it.
Okay. Yes. What's he saying?
There are a few things he wants as a Panthers fan. Somehow get an offensive line. McCaffrey gets more usage as a receiver, and either a proven older QB or prepare for the 2023 class.
I think if they can get that all with that first draft pick in the first round, I think they'll be set. They just, they need to get that on one pick. So I guess that means trading the pick. I don't know. The Panthers are, I don't know. They're treading water right now, and they're not necessarily going with the flow. So it's questionable in terms of what their future is going to be, but we'll see. They're getting better. I think their defense is pretty good.
It is. So if you were in charge, would you want to go the proven older QB or draft a QB?
I think with the window that they currently have now, no, because I could make an argument for both, but I would go with a younger quarterback, maybe like a Sam Howell, depending on, and I hate to stay in the Carolinas because, we generally don't want necessarily to do that, but if the player's good enough, why not? I'm a little concerned. I think that Sam Howell can be, he's a real accurate type of thrower. I like that. I don't necessarily like the fact that he's not really a great runner. He's not Kyler Murray, but he has the size of Kyler Murray, essentially. He's like 6'1" at best. So that's a little bit against him there, but he's got some talent, some potential. He's not your 6'4" quarterback who's going to step back and be a pocket passer. I don't necessarily see that. I see him more as a rollout guy, as a gadget type of quarterback. Whether that translates into the NFL with the appropriate offense that he lands on, that's yet to be determined. But Sam Howell is someone who could potentially, maybe not for Carolina, perhaps for Carolina, but be a someone to look out for, at least in the upcoming draft.
Yeah, I think that's. I think a lot of people are down on QBs for the 22 draft.
That's true, right?
You had someone like Rattler, who was projected to be a first round pick, and now he's in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
So a lot of things change though. There are some quarterbacks that didn't expect to go high and do well, and they end up doing really well, like Patrick Mahomes, for example. So you never know, but it's definitely the consensus seems to be that there's not a lot of elite talent coming out this next year, but we'll see. Things change. And just for both of you guys, I actually put in my first player prop bet. I put in Taysom Hill anytime TD.
Nice. That was on my video for work today.
Where did you do that, Dan?
I did that on DraftKings.
Okay. DraftKings is still it's escaping me from my home state of South Carolina here. Yeah. So I am unable to join that festivity yet.
Yeah.
Except when I go to New Jersey, I can, because I have family up in New Jersey. I'll be there for Christmas.
Oh, nice.
I'll wave.
I'm actually in Jersey. Where's your family at?
Delran, New Jersey. Sort of Cherry Hill is. It's kind of like.
Yeah. It's right by Philly. Yeah.
It's not that far from the NFL Films building, actually.
I was in Jersey City. Where the heck are you, Dan?
I'm south. I'm by Jersey Shore. I'm like 10 minutes from the shore.
Nice.
Like Tom's River?
Yeah, exactly. I'm actually
really?
Right below Tom's River.
Oh, okay. I used to have a house there.
Very nice.
Yeah, yes. So it's good. In the summer, get to go beach. It's fun. It is fun. We appreciate you too, Jordan. Thanks for joining us and talking some Panthers with Jeff. But yeah, so hopefully Taysom Hill scores a TD, and I can.
I kind of like that. I like that. What kind of odds are you getting here? What's the payout?
The odds it was plus 160 when I placed the bet. So
okay, so that's not too bad.
Yeah,
that's not bad at all.
Not gonna be a millionaire, but it'd be fun to win.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. You can play $5, $10, $20, whatever.
Yeah.
Just have something.
Just have fun with it. I always put a cap on how much I'm gonna put on it, and it's just fun too. Just add something to it. You don't have to bet your whole life savings.
No.
Yeah, you don't want to do that, Dan.
Don't do that now.
Don't do that. Your Giants fan wife won't be too happy.
She will not. She'll be my extra.
But your Giants fan co-host will make fun of you.
Yeah.
You does that no matter what. So
anyway, you kind of hedge yourself here, Dan. So either way, you're coming off positive.
On that note, I think it's about time to wrap up this show before Steph gets going too much.
Yeah, true.
Thank you so much, Jeff, for joining us. It was a great time talking some player props and some Panthers with you. You're awesome as a guest. You're awesome as a teammate during trivia and trusting me with that Jarvis Landry thing we had on FYF. That was a lot of fun too.
I forgot about that.
I
forgot. Oh well, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Did she make you hang that up? Was that part of? Yes, it is. It was, Jordan. Yes, I had to.
It's built in to the clause.
It was in the vows, so I had to do that. Yep. Mm-hmm. So where can everyone find you, Jeff?
Let's see. Twitter at Jeff Haseley is my Twitter name, so you can find me there. You can find me at footballguys.com. I've got my weekly column that I write called Fantasy Overview, which is all kind of about guiding you through the NFL season with interesting tidbits of information about various different players from different teams, and just kind of helping you through your fantasy season, if you will. Giving you some preemptive pickups, some playoff advice, that kind of thing. I've got a big article coming next week all about how to win in the playoffs, so make sure you check that out. Let's see. I write for Carolina SI or SI Panthers. Carolina SI. That's not even a thing. Panthers SI.
We can start it if you want.
I know, right? Hey,
now someone's
sponsor. So I do that. I told you about my Etsy site where you can get cool gear like this, Carolina gear, as well as other stuff. I also do custom requests. And I do some video editing for the fantasy doctors. So it seems like I'm always busy. I am always in front of this computer here.
I gotta get in touch with you after the show. I gotta custom order a shirt for Steph for Christmas.
Okay.
I love it.
And cool. I'm gonna get in contact with you to cancel that order.
Don't take her calls.
But really, guys, if you're not following Jeff, he's a fantastic human being outside of being a fantastic analyst. So he's someone that you want to follow on Twitter immediately.
You're just awesome at life. We all love you.
Immediately, right now. Let's go. Phone lines are open.
Phone lines are open. Call now.
Oh, we have launched off the deep end.
We did. Always in the show. It just took a little longer this time. Steph, where can everyone follow you?
At EagleDanFF.
Yes.
At semi-smalls with 3 L's. Depending. I honestly.
Oh, wait. Well, hold on. Time out. I'm going to call a timeout. I'm calling timeout on the kicker before the big kick.
Okay.
What's the whole deal with this 3 L's? What's that? What's that all about?
Know yet?
I know. What's the 3 L's? What is that?
My favorite thing to talk about. It stands for Brady's 3 losses. 2 of them come from my New York Giants, and 1 comes from my former classmate, Mr. Nick Foles. So those are my 3 L's, and I placed them in front of everyone to see.
Wow. See, I did not know this. And wait a minute, you were classmates with Nick Foles?
I was when I was a freshman.
He would call you Steph and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, he was a very, how you have, an inner circle of, friends? He was on the far end of it. I've offered him a beer before, and he's like, no. He's, not exactly,
I hear he's a great guy. I hear Nick Foles is a wonderful human being.
Some people were very serious athletes, and then you had me barely sleeping.
I'm just wondering if he didn't call her Steph, what else would he call her?
He probably didn't even address me by name.
Maybe he didn't know her name. That's what I was trying to get at.
His sister's name is Stephanie.
Trying to get to that throwing the line into the lake, just trying to fish something out.
Oh God!
I did not know that about the 3 L's.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I had something like that. I'd have a lot of L's for my Bills losses in the Super Bowl.
Right. Brady can't lose. Like if he goes to Super Bowl and loses, what am I gonna do?
Add another L.
Yeah, you have to add another L.
I'm gonna have to come up with something else.
Something.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. You can find me on Twitter at GiantStephFF. I write through articles for Champions Round, waiver, season preview, and then a nice grab bag on Wednesdays, whatever I feel like, and also this podcast with my wonderful co-host who I very much adore and don't want to strangle half the time.
Yes. We have a lot of fun on the show.
We do. It is a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
I think it'd be cool if I was like the third host.
It would be so cool.
You're hired.
You are the first friend of the show. We have no friends of the show yet.
Yeah, you're the first friend of the show.
You know when we first started out, and then we'll get out here.
We're gonna send you a T-shirt.
When I first started out, I always wanted to say, like, I thought it was so cool. It's like they're the friend of the show. Like I was always so excited to be able to say that, and now I can say Jeff is a friend of the show.
I think I could definitely create a hoodie that says "Friend of the Show."
Expect a ton of "Friend of the Show" merch now because
put it in like the Giants. Put it in the Giants font so that it kind of looks gianty. And then have like an eagle on it somehow with maybe it's crapping on the giant or something.
But like with an arrow through the eagle, so it's
that's not nice.
We'll figure something out.
You can't arrow them. It's against the law. All right, we're done here. Everyone, enjoy Thursday Night Football. I'm gonna go and have a drink.
Good.
Goodbye.
Adios.
See you guys.